What's happening, everybody? Welcome to the Hot Tag Wrestling Show. Chris and Georgia here with you as always. And look, I'm just going to kind of get right to it. And this is going to shock some people that I'm even going to talk about this, but uh, I'm going to talk about AEW for a second. And I know George is like, geez, I mentioned the three letters,
What-
which are
it's weird.
realistically.
I'm not even used to this. I'm not used to you mentioning those three letters in succession, followed by the phrase "I'm going to talk about." It's confusing to me. But I
So
gotta know.
So here, by the way, everybody, first off, if you're watching us on YouTube, like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications. What's going on, Tyson? Thank you for checking in. Look, I'm gonna be fully transparent with everybody. Full transparency here. I 99% of the time don't even recognize AEW as a real company. I feel like it's like a twilight zone. It doesn't really exist to me. I actually kind of like get upset when I even like hear about it or have to read about anything like that or see it pop up anywhere. Um, and I'm gonna kind of go into why. By the way, eventually we will get to our topic, which is Judgment Day from 2008. Looking forward, actually, a pretty underrated show. I'm looking forward to getting to that. Here's the thing: I don't really hate the existence of AEW because look, at the end of the day, of course it's good for the wrestling business. More eyes on it, regardless of either if it's set 600,000 or 700,000, which is what those losers get every week anyway. Then whatever, it's still good for the business because the boys and girls are getting paid, so good for them. There's not just one game in town. Technically, there really is, but notwithstanding, let's just say for the sake of this argument that there's two big companies, I guess, in the pro wrestling world. Um, I hate the fan base. I hate wrestling media. I hate the fake ass wrestling journalists. You know why Triple H calls out these guys in their post PLE press conferences? It's because they're not real journalists. Okay, I've worked for real journalists. I've been in real journalistic situations for all four professional sports teams and have worked with real journalistic organizations. People that have to really work hard every day, grinding to get things, get information. Oh, and get correct information. And if they don't get correct information, you don't have a job. 95% of what you all read in the dirt sheet scumbags out there are all fake. It's all made up bullshit. It's, in the words of the great Bruce Pritchard, it's all rumor, innuendo. It's just garbage. And guess what? For everyone who thinks, oh, it's so good to have these dirt sheet writers for the business, guess what? They're trying to kill the business. Dave Meltzer has built a career trying to destroy pro wrestling. When you're giving away results, when you're giving away surprises, you're giving away all these rumors behind the scenes. You want to know who helped kill kayfabe? Dirt sheet writers. That's what it is. And what I hate about AEW is that they feed into it. Their whole business model is let me appeal to the dirt sheet audience. And unfortunately, that's a large audience. I hate them. I hate them all. The second AEW became a thing, it was like, and I'm gonna kind of compare the analogy to what we went through as like Philadelphia Eagles fans when Nick Foles won the Super Bowl with the Eagles. The second Nick Foles wins the Super Bowl for the Eagles, the fan base instantly developed this tribalistic attitude of, well, if I like Nick Foles, I have to hate Carson Wentz, and if I love Carson Wentz, I'm gonna have to just say, cool, Nick Foles won a Super Bowl. He's not the quarterback. The second AEW became a thing, the fan base, the bottom dwelling eels of and leeches of the wrestling fan base instantly created this divide of, well, I'm part of AEW now. I hate WWE. AEW doesn't exist without the WWE. 75% of that fucking roster were people that worked for the WWE that were created by them. And, a lot of the guys that, AEW pushes now, they're not over because they don't have the machine backing them. Or, they have their 50-year-old legends jumping off top of the cages and breaking their legs for no fucking reason. So, when I think about AEW, it's purebred tribalism, and it's awful. If you want to call me an e-drone all you want, and I've been called it 1,000 times, ask George, ask Dean. I'll shred WWE any chance I get. I will.
He does this every Monday. Like you guys don't see it, but it'll be Monday and I'm doing whatever, or I'm trying to watch Raw, whatever. I'll randomly get a text from Chris. Man, this is a nightmare to get through. This fucking show.
Yeah. And look,
like shame on me for trusting Triple H. He's lying to me.
I would not say that, but sometimes I say that just because I'm angry. But look, I'll rip WWE, to the cows come home, man. Like I will, and that's fine. But I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna, because I'm mad at WWE. I'm not gonna go on X and all of a sudden be like, well, time for me to just for fun of it. I'm just gonna go find something on AEW and I'm just gonna rip that. And like it's not a competition to me as a fan of pro wrestling. I think AEW is trash. I think it sucks. It makes me laugh when people 10, 12 years ago destroyed TNA. TNA, I've gone back many times over the last year and I've watched a lot of TNA shows. TNA is light years, or was light years better than anything AEW has ever put out. And you know what else TNA did really well that AEW cannot do? TNA developed their own talent. TNA created talent, homegrown talent. One of which is one of the best wrestlers in the last 30 years in AJ Styles. Guys like that. And AEW just pisses me off so much. And half of it, I'm going to say it's what's 100 divided by 3?
100 divided by 3, 66.
66. No. 100 divided by 3.
Yeah, 66.
Okay.
Well,
so
and then like a remainder because math.
So 3, I'm going to say there's 3 parts to my hatred for AEW. 1, the fans. 2, the dirt sheet, because they're in the pockets of AEW, because you know why? Because they get information from Tony Khan and of other people around him. So of course they're just going to fall all over and just uber drool all over them. And that's just the way it's become in wrestling media is, well, you're giving me scoops, so I'm going to support you. And people WWE side, they're not giving me the scoops that I want to make shit up with. So I'm just going to hate on them. And the other part that
33
33.
33 and the third.
33. And then the last 33.
Thank you, Dean Steiner.
Yeah. And
thank you, Tyson. You're right. The numbers definitely don't lie.
That's correct.
And they spell danger for Chris as sacrifice.
And the last part that I hate the most about AEW is their owner. And and we've said this so many times, and I'm tired of saying it when the often chance that I actually do talk about AEW is if Tony Khan just didn't involve himself, if he would stop speaking, stop doing press conferences where he just can't help himself to mention the WWE, if the dude stopped booking his entire company that needs to make money, that needs to sell tickets to these buildings that they don't, he has to start paying attention and surrounding himself with people that can help him get to the point where you don't even have to think about the WWE. You know why you don't get 800,000 viewers on your show, 900,000? Oh, fuck you! You're probably never going to touch 1 million again. The reason you don't is because you cater to this select audience, this select audience who are one. A lot of them. There's so many bad things I want to say that I just can't say. A lot of them just aren't smart, I guess you could say. Like, Maybe they were hurt by the WWE so bad maybe Vince shit on their head, and then they just decided to walk on over to the AEW and watch them. But my problem lies with Tony Khan, because I think he's terrible at everything that he does. If you're happy with 700,000 people every single week watching your shows because you are pretty good on that one demo, that's great. Hey, guess what, AEW? I saw the report that Mr. Tony Khan is not happy with Warner Brothers or Turner's latest offer for the television rights. Sorry to tell you, what else did you expect? What on any other network, if you're pulling in at prime time 700,000 people a week, you're not on the air for long. You're just not. So you've been coasting by on Turner because they need programming. They just lost their biggest draw. They just lost the NBA, and they still don't want to pay you, AEW, for the rights to your television shows. That's how bad you are. And if you were so good, if you were as good as fucking Dave Meltzer continues to push every single week, if you're so good at your business and great at it, wouldn't you already have this beautiful deal from WBD to be like, sure, please, we really need your programming. We need all those 700,000 for Dynamite, our primetime 8 p.m. show on Wednesday nights. We need that Collision and Rampage and whatever the hell else is on YouTube. We need that content bad. We just lost the NBA. Nope. Looks like to me, WBD might be okay losing AEW on television. Look, I think it's going to end up, they're going to get a deal. I think it's not going to be remotely close to what Tony Khan believes is the worth of his company.
It'll be spun to make it seem like it's the greatest thing since
Of course it will.
That's how it is.
Where's that streaming deal? Where's that streaming deal that Tony Khan promised?
Because it was around that time that they announced that WWE was getting that Netflix deal. Then he's like, "Oh, like, wait, you see our big, wait, see our big streaming deal?" It's like, dude, like, what big streaming? What, with Max?
Yeah.
Didn't they just pair with Didn't they just pair with Bleacher Report or Barstool Sports or something?
It might have been Bleacher Report.
And you're still like not part of it.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna get a big deal if the company that is willing to give you the deal sees a profit in what your business is. Right. And yes, like last year you sort of profited like 230 million. How much you actually spending? How much have you spent in this company so far? Are you even making a total profit? Are people looking at this?
I would love to know.
Like the arenas are a third filled. It doesn't matter. However you tarp it off or however you set it up for. It's like, oh, well, we're set up for 3,000. We sold 3,000. That's a sellout. Yeah, granted, that's a sellout, but you're in a 17,000 seat stadium and you're filling a fifth of it.
The problem is also you're selling out 3,000 people. That's great. You just paid John Moxley's salary for the week. Like you have these huge contracts. Supposedly, they're just pissing money away with Mercedes Moné or Sasha Banks, whatever the hell she is this week. And then you have Moxley. You have the young cucks, and you have the Jerichos of the world, the Edges, MJF. I'm sure re-signed for a big new deal. These are big contracts you're paying out that you're not even getting 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 people in your arenas for your primetime live television show. And just remind everybody, live television ain't cheap. It's very, very expensive to produce. So, I remember this was in like the late 90s. I think per week on USA, Raw cost maybe $450,000 just to produce the show, like per episode. So like that was then, and I can't even imagine what it is now. So there's a lot of problems I have with AEW. I don't watch the show. The only time I know anything that goes on with AEW is if I read their ratings, which is what I look for because I like to get a good laugh on Thursday afternoons. And then if George or Dean want to really piss me off during the day, and they'll send clips from AEW or something. So I'll that's the only time I know anything that's going on. I did read about their them being lowballed by WB. I mean, everybody's lowballed by Warner Brothers these days.
They don't have any fucking money.
Yeah, they have nothing. I mean, when you lose the NBA, they're literally just they're grasping at straws right now, and you're grasping at the lowest straw if you want anything to do with AEW and Tony Khan. But look, maybe I'm just a huge hater, but I've given that company so many chances, and they're just garbage. And from what I've read about what happened at Double or Nothing, my God, it's even worse. Like their top star, who's not a draw, MJF, comes out literally as trying to be a clone to Triple H. And it's like, these are the reasons. You're a copycat league. These are the reasons that nobody takes you serious, except for the 700,000 people that watch you every night.
And he got that awful ass tattoo. It's like, dude, if you got this super big deal from Tony Khan, like to stay, and like, I'm not fucking going anywhere. Couldn't you have gone to a tattoo artist who has had more than 5 minutes in the fucking business?
Yeah,
Like, yeah, I only have 3 tattoos, but they're all done by people who know how to draw straight fucking lines.
And look, I didn't even hear the promo that he made, because I'm pretty sure I've probably heard it 15
Probably
times
heard it before, yeah.
from any other promo that MJF has done. And it just bothers me when you see guys what Edge has done or lack thereof in that company. Cool, Gangrel showed up. That's great. Cool. 1999 was a long time ago.
And most
So
of the people watching AEW weren't even fucking born, so I don't even understand the reference anyway.
yeah,
Or they're not old enough to actually have witnessed it live.
Right.
To really appreciate what that was during that time and why gimmicks like that were special and got over in that era.
Right. And Gangrel showing up in a non-WWF ring is kind of meaningless to me. Because that's what the Brood was. They were a WWE creation. They had nothing. They were not a Turner creation. So look, that's my unfortunate 17-minute rant. That's probably the most you'll ever hear me talk about them. I know, George, you wanted to talk about Double or Nothing. So
while we're already on the
yeah.
subject, there isn't a whole lot I really wanted to talk about. I'm going to talk a little bit about the straight foolishness that this company does, and it's a shame because I liked ECW when it was growing up. I know, Chris, you weren't the biggest fan of it, but I like that extreme stuff. But there's a massive difference to what it was with ECW and what it is now with AEW. The guys in ECW could fucking wrestle, for one. They could tell a story in the ring. Yeah, Sandman swinging a fucking Singapore can around, but I understand like why he's doing it. Like it makes sense. Like in this company, you got these jack-offs, the fucking Young Bucks, just putting on Nikes that have tacks in the bottom for like a super kick pop. It's like this is why like all they do is cater to that indie crowd, because shit like that gets over at the Armory in Philly. It gets over at Six Flags during that one time during the summer that they're there. It gets over in the Park Live, the Columbus Sale when they're doing one. Like for the live crowd that's there because they don't know any better and they're just there to watch a show. Yeah, but like on pay-per-view with like a million people watching, sponsors, like critics, and then you look at people like Cornette and Eric Bischoff who bash like, oh well, they're just old and out of touch, or what have they ever done? They've done more in a fucking business Tony Khan has.
Dude, like I'm so
you're gonna defend a guy, and I know we're going off on this.
It's okay.
But yeah, I remember I listened to your rant last night or Sunday night that you sent it, and you were like, Tony Khan has to be like a good businessman. He can't be this bad. He's not a good businessman because this is the company that he's actually running. He doesn't run the Jaguars and he doesn't run Fulham.
That's a good point.
Like he doesn't own it. All he does is like the head of football operations, whatever the fuck that means. I assume the GM pulled all the slots. That's how it is with any team we watch. With the Cowboys, Jerry Jones, with the Eagles. What do you got? The Howie Roseman's his name? I don't know.
Yeah.
But either way, like I don't know who the head of football operations is for any other team because it doesn't matter. That's not what I'm looking at. I'm not looking at the shit like that. And like Fulham, I don't know what he does because they just hit the Premier League, I think, a year or two ago. So like
Dean would probably know about all that.
You're barely big time, so in soccer, so it doesn't matter. But you make these decisions based off of what Dave Meltzer's going to like and what the people on Twitter like. And that's like, if that's your fan base, that's you're never going to grow. Meltzer's going to blow everything you do unless it's something he really, 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 really disagrees with. But
Mhm.
even then, he'll spin himself out of control to say that it's not all that bad.
Yeah.
But he has no Tony has no idea what he's doing, and he will not listen to anybody else. As long as the yes men are telling him, "Hey, good job, Tony," he's going to keep doing what he's doing.
And Anthony asked us a question on our. He's listening along and watching along on Facebook. So thanks a lot, Anthony. He also supports us over
Thank you, man.
on the Ring the Bell network. So I appreciate that, man. He says or asks rather, do you think the number will go back up at all with MJF back? So look, I think
Well,
it might go from 750, maybe to 800 on Wednesday, but maybe not even because look, he's only back for like that one segment. So he's not, it's not like it's a 2 hour show. If they promote when he's going to show up, which I assume will be the opening of the show, they're going to have a decent number at the top, but I think there's going to be a drastic fall off after that promo's over with. So I think the
well,
number goes up at the beginning, but that's it.
here's the thing. There's no NBA game on Wednesday.
Okay.
That because I believe
Well, there wasn't last week either,
I think there was. I think it
or the
was
week before, maybe.
yeah, yeah. But so the only competition they have is the NHL, which is a game 3 between the Stars and the Oilers. So
Okay.
the season isn't on the line for either of them. Like the Stars are up 2-1, so
Right.
the Oilers could literally win it tomorrow and it would just continue on. So they
Mhm.
don't have any real competition. That game starts at 8:30. So if they want to get like a good jumper lead, then they could start with whoever they consider is hot at 8 o'clock. See if you get some people to stay in, but they're not going to get that much of a bounce because, and Chris, you always say this: if the product is good, people will watch.
Agreed.
So it doesn't matter how much defending they can do, or like, if you have a diehard fan, if you're a diehard fan of wrestling, Chris, are
Mhm.
you going to watch a random NBA playoff game that your team isn't part of?
No, I'm
So
not. Yeah.
I don't know uh, how many AEW fans are Pacers, Celtics, Timberwolves, or Mavericks fans, but I don't think it's enough to make a difference considering the people I see online and what they talk about. They never talk about anything else. It's always
Yeah.
about AEW. So I assume they
Yeah.
don't watch any of the sports.
And
But
I know.
people are leaving that show. They're not going to come back.
So and other news that I read today. I believe Arn Anderson and Mark Henry have let AEW know that they will not be returning after the contract expires at the end of the month.
I
Um,
thought Arn was already gone.
Now, Arn announced earlier today that he will be leaving AEW. His contract officially expires on May 31st. And I know Mark Henry is also leaving. So that's two really good minds of wrestling
Yeah.
that one I'm sure Tony Khan never even paid attention to because he's all knowing because his booker is the Wrestling Observer. So why have Arn Anderson and Mark Henry when you have Dave Meltzer?
Yeah. What are you,
So
stupid?
right. But I agree with you. It's just a shit show. I'm interested. I'm really interested in seeing what's going to be happening with this Warner Brothers or TNT or Turner Network deal. I think they're probably going to get it done because if they don't get it done, Meltzer probably lied and said, Amazon Prime's interested, Fox might be interested for FS1. That nobody watches
Nobody
FS1. So that'll
watches
be
it.
perfect. It's a perfect landing spot for AEW.
You can tell that I watched FS1 because when SmackDown gets preempted to FS1, they lose like 1.5 million viewers.
Yeah, so it's a
But it's
great.
called a win when Rampage starts a half hour early, and they're like, "Oh, we beat your last segment." Jerry McDivitt even said so. It's like, okay,
So funny. But I'm interested in seeing what happens. My assumption is they're going to end up with a deal with WBD. Because look, again, realistically, it's not because Warner Brothers wants AEW. I don't think they want AEW anymore, but they're real. I think David Zasloff is probably desperate for programming, especially live programming. So might as well keep something that continuously gets you 700,000 or above viewers every single week
Yeah.
at 8 p.m. on primetime. So I'm assuming they'll get that, but I just don't think it's going to be anything near what Tony Khan believes his company is
Yeah.
worth.
What
That's
he
just what
has,
I think.
like what he has built up in his mind. He'll be like, oh well, Forbes said we're valued at $2 billion. It's like, okay, that's not what, like, you have to know what value means. It doesn't mean, like, it means if your company was to sell today with all of its assets, it's valued at $2 billion. That includes the contracts that you overpay on these fucking people.
By the
And
way, I don't. They're not worth 2 billion either. So I don't know who that they're getting in from that.
they're worth
But
two
I
billion Cheerios.
just to give an update also, if anyone thinks that people, are just such huge, watchers of AEW,
Mhm.
last week's AEW Rampage, which was Friday on TNT, drew 222,000 viewers.
Yeah, well, it went up against 2020 on NBC. They got a strong lead in from Step by Step.
Oh my god, that's so funny. I wonder if that's the lowest number that they've done.
It's got to be. I haven't heard like 200. That's fucking ridiculous.
222.
I
SmackDown.
mean, Zazoff needs programming on
Yeah.
Turner, but at the same time, he also needs money because none of the movies are making any fucking money. You can only ride Barbie for so long.
Yeah. Um, so SmackDown last week drew 2.18, 2.15. So that's again, it's kind of holding pretty strong of what they're usually
Well,
doing.
and SmackDown was also pre-taped, so the results came out early.
Right. And it's still got a 2 point.
And still got it too. Yeah.
2.15. All right. So George, anything else you want to talk a little bit about King and Queen of the
Let's talk
Ring?
a little bit about the King of the Ring. We'll talk about the King of the Ring. We'll talk
All
about
right, go
something
ahead.
good. So talk about something good that happened this weekend.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, man, I really enjoy the PLEs with 5 matches or so on a
Oh
card.
yeah, just streamline it. Like, don't
Yeah.
give me the filler. Don't give me the bullshit. Just get.
Yeah.
Well, what are your top stories right now? Okay, have your culmination match on the pay per view. We don't need filler. Like a random tag match that goes nowhere. No, we got. I mean, we did get it was actually 6 match if you count the pre-show with Bianca and Jade. Successfully defended the titles against Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae to
Yeah.
the surprise of nobody, which is a shame because Candice and Indy are really good in the ring, but I don't think they have the charisma to get over, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But then, like, the show opened up with the women's title match, Becky Lynch and Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan pulled out a win, which I don't think surprised too many of us.
Yeah.
But it just furthers what's going on with her and Dom. And then last night on Raw, she kisses Dom right as Raw goes off the air.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I think we're going to get a custody for Dominic ladder match at SummerSlam between Rhea and Liv.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like Becky Lynch also is going to be away for a little while. Her contract expires this week.
Mm-hmm.
She lost, I guess, quote unquote, her going away match for a while in a cage match against Liv Morgan on Raw. The last I had heard is that they are in discussions and there is a lot of dialogue for a new contract. But Becky does want to take significant time off, which is fair. So, good for her to go enjoy a little bit of time off. So yeah, we'll see where that goes. But for right now, Liv is the star, and Rhea should be coming back fairly soon.
It took no time at all for people to jump on Becky Lynch is going to show up in AW. Like my buddy Matt that I work with, he told me he saw something where it said Tony Khan is prepared to throw big money at Becky Lynch Lopez.
Yes.
And I looked at him. I was like, why would she use her WWE ring name and Seth Rollins' real last name?
Oh, that's
Like,
hilarious.
what idiot wrote that? Wouldn't it fucking pointless? But aside from that, we also crowned a new queen of the ring in Nia Jax, which shocked the fuck out of me. I don't know about
It
you,
did.
Chris.
It shocked me as well. Great match, though.
But it was a good match.
It was a very good.
Yeah.
I texted you the whole time, and I'm like, you know what? It's odd that I'm going to say this.
Yeah.
But Nia had her working boots on. So, and and how about how do you pronounce her first name?
Lyra Valkyria.
That's right, Lyra Valkyrie. Man, she is a star. She's incredible.
There were some people I saw who were like, Nia botched the annihilation. Like the guy looked like a rough landing. It's like that's how it was supposed to look. Kayfabe.
Oh man.
Just because something looks bad doesn't mean it leads to an injury. I know other
Correct.
places have that, but in some places they're a little more professional, even though there is an injury bug rolling around. But I stand by what I said. Where's Miro?
Yeah,
Um,
right?
Sami Zayn successfully defended the Intercontinental title in the
Yep.
triple threat against Bronson Reed and
Really good
Chad
match.
Gable. Dude, Gable is going to be a fucking monster heel. He
I
could
think
be a
it, yeah.
he could be a head he could be a main event heel.
Have you been reading the comparisons to Perk Angle? And he's like, I'm all for it.
I think Kurt even said he'd come back and manage him if the if the story called for it, if the story was right.
Oh, that's so funny. That
I
would
was
be
like,
a
oh
great.
yeah,
That would be good because I think Gable might need a talking head for a little bit. I think he's okay on the mic, but his work is what gets him over. So, but God, he's a machine. He's a
that
legitimate machine.
that German suplex to Bronson Reed while Bronson Reed also
Yeah,
had Sami Zayn. I'm like, you got
yep.
to be like I understand it's a show and there's different things involved, but strength is fucking strength.
I agree. I
Like
agree.
it looked good. Speaking of fucking hard hitting and strength, Gunther, our new king of the ring,
Yeah, man. Little
man,
controversial though.
Randy, those chops to Randy and Randy just selling it like, oh, you like I feel like at any point he could just be like, oh, you motherfucker, not again. But yeah, we got a little bit of controversy where Randy's shoulder was up, but and I even told you I think that's too big to ignore. You kind of have to address it. And Triple H, I think a couple days later, said that we are going to address the controversy, and
Hmm.
Randy may want another shot at the crown, or maybe Randy goes full heel
Maybe. I
because he
mean,
was screwed.
it's a good chance for him to do something like that.
Yeah,
That's for sure. But I'm not. It's not to me. It's not going to be. It's not going to take away the greatness of that match
no,
was because it
that
was
was a.
really, really
I mean,
good.
like I'm texting because we weren't even near the end yet, and you're like, this is already a 5-star match.
Dude, the story that they were telling was spectacular, and I just thought, man, it's ring psychology. Everything is so crisp, and
Like
everything meant
two
something.
ring generals.
Yeah,
Like it was
one
almost
being a legitimate one. Yeah,
it was almost like the changing of the guard. It almost kind of felt like or like the
yeah.
passing of the torch.
That's a good question. That's a good point there. I didn't think of it that way, but it,
I
it
mean,
could have
yeah, I mean, it
definitely
could be.
been. Um,
I'll take a Randy Gunther feud.
oh, geez. Yeah, give me that every single week.
Yeah, I'll take that. Yeah, I'll take that dream match every pay per view.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's something. Give me like a 6-pack challenge of
yeah,
those two.
yeah.
I'll take it.
Give me a best of 7. Give me a
Give me like
best
a.
of 7 series that lasts all year.
That's right. Get best of 7. Got to win by 2. So just keep it going. um,
Fantastic.
Oh yeah,
Oh
man. Good
yeah, that Blue
point.
Thunder Bomb was fucking nice.
That dude, I don't know how he got him up there, man, but it looked damn good. I'll tell you
I
that.
mean, Bronson moves like Bam Bam, like Heyday Bam Bam.
Yeah, I got to tell you what, I slept on Bronson Reed a little bit, and I was just like, boy, he proved me wrong in that triple threat because that dude can work. Bronson
Mhm.
Reed can work. So good on him.
Yeah,
Because that
and our
was spectacular.
yep. And the main event of the night of the day of the afternoon for us was what was Cody Rhodes successfully defending the WWE Championship
Yeah.
against Logan Paul in a move that surprised nobody.
And hey, you all want me to criticize WWE? I did. I texted
Yes, you
George right
did.
away.
Yes, he fucking did.
This is like boring. This has gone on like 10 minutes too long.
Yeah.
Like this is something that could have been a good back and forth for 10 to 12 minutes. Right around that 15-minute mark, hit the crossroads and get out. You're the world champion. You don't have to go so back and forth with Logan Paul. Logan Paul, he doesn't really need Cody Rhodes right now. Everything it's a king and queen of the ring. It's not SummerSlam. It's not Survivor Series. Money in the Bank. Have a good back and forth match. Help Logan Paul look like a star that he is,
Mhm.
and just continue being a dominant champion. And just hit the crossroads and get out.
I'll tell you what what I was actually more interested in that match, I was more interested in Logan Paul getting in Michael Cole's face.
That was my favorite part of the match.
Because I'm like, where's this gonna go? Like,
Yeah.
because my thought was Michael Cole was gonna like screw Logan Paul,
Right.
and then Cody Rhodes is gonna take advantage.
Yeah.
And I mean, and the that camera angle, which had to be on a drone, had to be
hmm
that just did like that 360 around Logan Paul as he jumped off the top rope through the announce table. I mean, a spot he does every single match. So it
Right.
kind of lost its luster, but adding that camera angle to it, I'm like, oh, it looked pretty cool.
Yeah.
But
And
like, it should not have taken 3 crossroads to keep Logan Paul down.
no, I agree. I
Like,
agree. Like it's
don't
ridiculous.
ruin that already.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
you had to do it to Brock. I get it. You had to do it to Roman.
yeah.
I get it. You have to do it to 195-pound soaking wet Logan Paul. I don't get it.
I'll tell you again, man. It doesn't make this run has not made Cody look good. It has not made him look as strong as he should. He defeated Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, one of the greatest world championship reigns in the history of the business. And it takes 3 crossroads to beat Logan Paul in your third title defense or second title defense, right? Your third title defense. It's not, to me, it doesn't make, it's not, to me, it's not off to the start that I think that they hoped it would. Maybe because, again, I'm going to preface this again, half the Raw roster is hurt. So, but still, nonetheless, George, like, are you enticed at all or happy with this run so far?
I thought about this today when I was at work, talk with Matt, because agreed, Hailstorm. Match was extremely dragged out.
Yeah.
Well, I was talking about because me and him have, just like you and me, have grown up watching all the same stuff. And I was like, his Cody Rhodes title reign right now feels like 1996 Shawn Michaels.
Oh man, that's a great comp, man.
Because
It really does.
He's too much of a babyface.
Yep.
He's too nice. He comes out. He's in his 3-piece suit every week. He references dad 5 times a promo, and Cody gets a pop. He gets a reaction. He can work the mic. Like I get all that, but you need a little bit of edge. You need a little. I don't mean fucking Adam Copeland. I mean like edge to your personality. What I would have done in this match. You want to make me interested in what the match with Logan Paul was? Have Logan Paul go to use the brass knucks. Cody takes him and then he uses them on Logan Paul and wins the match. Yep. Or at least hits him with it and then picks him up and does the 1 crossroads just to make it seem like he didn't use the brass knucks at all.
Right.
You know, do that. I mean, like he's still winning, he's still a babyface, but there's a little bit of edge to him to show that he'll go a little further to keep that title.
And I think that's why, during that first title reign with Shawn Michaels, that's why the Mind Games match with Mankind was so important for his babyface run because it forced Shawn to have an edge to his wrestling. It forced him to show that, you know what? If I'm going up against a maniac like Mankind, I can't just be this white meat babyface. I have to have an edge. I have to have an attitude in there. I have to have some sort of aggression and do whatever it takes to win a match. I think that's where you started to see the seeds planted for a more aggressive HBK babyface. We're not getting that yet out of Cody Rhodes. And I agree with you. I think it would have been great. I would have loved if he would have taken the brass knucks, punched him in the face without even a crossroads, punch him in the mouth, pin him 1, 2, 3, and get out of there. To me, that's an impressive championship reign.
Yeah, I'm going to use it against you.
Correct. That would have been great.
And then since Logan Paul's already heel, he can whine and piss and moan and cry. He used the brass knucks on me, so here. Well, the ref's decision's final. Back of the line, Chief. Something like that.
Right.
But if you're too much of a babyface, the crowd is going to turn on you.
They are. Yeah.
Like HBK 96, Brett 94. You're too nice. You got to have something. That's like when Brett was champ in 97, people ate it up because that's what I want. Yeah. I want a dickhead.
Yes.
And that's you got to have something, because if you're a champion, you need to make this belt seem like it is a part of you, and you will do whatever you can to keep it.
That's why it's really hard to be a babyface in 2024 and have a long run as a champion. to me, it just doesn't work that well,
Mm.
because they turn on you.
Yeah, like
And
Seth has an edge. That's why his world title run um
yeah,
was good because like, oh, like, well, I want to see who Seth, and Seth's defending it every week, so that was big too. And like Roman
yeah,
was, so, it's
yeah,
like, oh, who's Seth gonna face? But what's Seth gonna do? Like, what stipulation are gonna throw at Seth that he has to overcome? And he's gonna adapt to whatever the stipulation is, and he's gonna use that to his advantage and win. That's what
I
Cody
agree.
needs.
I agree. So we'll see what happens
Yeah,
as we get moving forward with Clash of the Castle coming up, where I think we're going to have a new world heavyweight champion. Who knows? We'll see
I
where the
feel
next.
I feel bad for Damian Priest just
Yeah,
because of the situation, but maybe he'll get the title again. I hope he gets the title again.
yeah. I think eventually. I think. Oh yeah,
I mean, he's main event caliber.
he
So
is. He's got a very very bright future atop of the card for WWE. All right, so let's finally get to the
let's
reason why
get
we're here.
40 minutes later.
Right, 40 minutes later, we're talking Judgment Day 2008, ladies and
This will be where
gentlemen.
Dean turns off the show.
This
He just wants to
the,
hear us rant. I'm like, oh, you guys are gonna talk about things. I'm out of here.
the Judgment Day 2008 is a Raw, SmackDown, and ECW production. May 18th, 2008, in Omaha, Nebraska, at the Q West Center. A sellout crowd of 11,324 people. This Judgment Day did 252,000 pay-per-view buys and was pretty instrumental helping WWE increase its pay-per-view revenue by $22 million compared to the previous year. This was I would say a middle of the road pay-per-view in terms of ratings that I looked around the internet for most people coming to the conclusion that it was an average show. Dave Meltzer does, thumbs down, thumbs up, or thumbs in the middle. I feel like many people would have did a thumbs in the middle for this show. So we're going to go into it a little bit here. And 2008, George, was a
Chris.
real big transition. I mean, a massive transition year for World Wrestling Entertainment. It's, the first year when they finally went to start broadcasting every week on high definition. I'm sure Shawn Michaels' hairline hated the high definition when that went over.
You're so disrespectful.
That's all right. They make fun of it too. You know, and it was also the year, George, where WWE went PG.
Yeah.
And that was the very first year where the PG label meant more family-friendly programming. The bad language went away. There was no more blading, no more blood unless it was the hard way. We were just so up until this point, man. We were so used to the language, the blood. I'm pretty sure the cause of the no blood policy was actually a match between Shawn Michaels and Chris Jericho, where after that night, Vince put the kibosh on bleeding, and we'll maybe eventually one day talk about that pay-per-view. I believe that was the
Well,
Great
we already said
American Bash.
you already said we were going to talk about this feud.
Right, so we will get to
Yeah,
that
so we'll get
eventually.
to that. Yeah.
Yeah. This is May 18th of 2008. July 22nd, 2008 is when WWE officially went to PG. So this show was, about 2 months before the big change. July 22nd, 2008, that would have been Shawn Michaels' birthday. But by this point, everybody that followed the company knew, you kind of saw the seeds being planted that, that TV 14 ruthless aggression type era was kind of on the back end. However, if you look at the storylines, though, the roster was still badass. You had Edge, Undertaker dominating SmackDown. Triple H, Orton were, feuding on Raw. Cena obviously was still on top of the world. He wasn't, but he wasn't even in the main event of this show, but it was all right. But some of the matches on this show were continuations from rivalries from WrestleMania 24, and then there were others that were like new storylines. So, what do you remember of this time, George, before we get right to the card here? What do you remember about WWE in 2008?
Chris, I'm going to be fully transparent and honest with you.
I was drunk for the majority of 2008.
And Dean can attest to this. I was completely obliterated drunk for most of 2008.
Oh dear God, I was just joking, but
No,
apparently
no,
I.
no, that's legit. That was the year where I was going to a party every weekend because we had it at my friend's house. And that was literally why he bought the house. So that's probably why I have gout. But I
Oh
digress. But I don't remember. I don't remember a whole lot of WWE at this time. The one thing I do remember is this Shawn and Chris Jericho feud because I was invested weekly. It's like I need to know where this is going to go next.
yeah, yeah. Just an FYI, Jordan Grace just debuted on NXT with the Knockouts title.
Whoa,
Um,
whoa, whoa, whoa,
yeah,
whoa,
so that's pretty cool.
whoa. Somebody's coming.
Yeah, shit you would
Somebody's
never have Vince
coming.
McMahon do.
That
So
means broken match showing up. Yeah. It's
so
time, baby.
let's get to the show here
Damn
again.
it.
May 18th, 2008, WWE Judgment Day. We'll start off in the opener here. JBL versus John Cena, man, in the opener of Judgment Day here. Of course, John Cena gets the win by pinfall at just over 15 minutes. He avoided a clothesline from hell, and then he hit the FU slam for the pin. What was your thoughts on this one? I thought it was okay. I thought it
It
was
was
kind of
it was
slow.
it was okay for
Yeah.
it was slow for what it was. But this is what I thought of when I was watching this. Has there anybody who has had a better like character transition than fucking JBL? Like he went from being, like a beer swilling, like barroom brawler in with the APA, and then all he does is dye his hair blonde and becomes basically the wrestling version of J.R. Ewing from Dallas. And he had fucking heat for days. Like this did so much for his career. And he became world champion.
Man, I'm trying to think of somebody who would have had that massive transition in their career. Maybe Kane?
Maybe, but I feel like because I was even thinking like Booker T, like from Harlem Heat,
Oh,
but like
Booker
Booker
was
T
that's a
and
great
Kane,
one.
they still stayed like the same gimmick. Like this man went through a whole like persona overhaul.
Well, I mean,
And it was
Kane
like
was Isaac Yankem
then yeah, no one
and
else.
fake Diesel.
Yeah, all right, I'll give you. All right, you're right. I'll give you that. I'll give
I
you that.
mean, but you are right though. I mean, I remember going back to watching those Raws in the late '90s, and it's Justin Hawk Bradshaw, and I'm just like, okay. I mean, he's just a spot guy on the card. He's a
Yeah.
big dude. He can move. But you're right. He went from that to APA, which I'm sure at the time was a throwaway. I didn't think they
I
expected probably
loved
APA.
APA.
Oh, I love
Oh,
APA.
I
But I don't
loved it.
think they expected, APA with Ron Simmons that late in his career
Yeah.
to take off the way they did. And then
Yeah,
he goes.
they got over with those backstage segments where it was just them at the table and they had the door frame that people had to knock on to go through because if people just walked around, it's like, hey, what are you raising a barn? Go knock on the door.
And you're right. And then he goes from that to becoming JBL, which, of the Ruthless Aggression era, one of the best heels of that
Oh
era,
yeah,
without a doubt. So yeah, that's a great, great point. I thought it was a pretty good match. It was okay. Cena sold his ass off for JBL
I
on this one
he,
because
I feel like if he didn't, he was going to be forced to sell anyway because Bradshaw does not pull his punches or his clotheslines.
that's a good point. So he would have either died or just try to sell the
Yeah,
best you can.
U.S. Public Enemy what happens if you're not going to do the job.
This was also a time where Michael Cole and Mick Foley were the SmackDown announce team.
That
Boy,
was
how
ooh,
that just did not work.
that was not good. That didn't
Nah,
sound good. That did not hit the ear good at all.
no, boy, Michael Cole has just been through everything. um, in
It's
the
it's hard to listen to him on these old pay-per-views.
it is,
When you listen to him now and like he's got a lust for life now and like he enjoys his job and he loves doing what he's
yeah,
doing.
I
And
agree.
then you hear this and you're just and like yeah, he's got some excitement, but you can hear like the tone in his voice. He's like, I'm gonna eat a gun like at any minute.
Yeah,
Like I
and
can't do it.
I want to one day. I wish there was like a a Beyond the Mat type documentary on Michael Cole during the Big Dog era, or the Boss Sasha Banks. I just want to know how many times he took a shot after each time he had to say Big Dog or the Boss
He's gonna be
on one Monday Night Raw.
there's gonna be a book come out. Michael Cole, My Life in the Coal Mine.
My life in 2019. Um, so we get to you have the ECW announce team, which was Mike Adamle and Taz. Which one of these are not like the other?
Taz. Both.
Oh, jeez. And then you have the next match here, WWE Tag Team Championship on SmackDown. John Morrison and The Miz versus Kane and CM Punk again. Just
One of these
weird.
things is not like the other.
Yes. This match ended in just over 7.5 minutes with John Morrison and The Miz. As expected, this was not good. I just did not look, and it's none of their faults. I think Morrison is okay. I mean, he's a botch and an injury waiting to happen. The Miz was, not the Miz yet in 2008. He hadn't reached that comfort status yet as being a pretty good mid card or even a single star.
There's like a reliable in-ring talent.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, Kane and CM Punk. It's like a team you would never put together on paper.
It was like something that would have been drawn in like a lethal lottery for like this. It's like it has like a strange Bedfellows match.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly. But it was all right. It was what it was.
Like the thing is, they gave less than a shit about ECW.
It was, yeah.
And so like you get people doing these matches, but they're just kind of going through it because they don't have the best producers working down ECW. It's all just people that are like, well, we don't really need you on Raw. Maybe you can go help the zombie down in ECW.
It's just sad because again, and this is where we talk about, Vince for the last 15 years or so just it's like he had no clue. What was ever the point of bringing back ECW, especially when you listen to, Pritchard talk about the fact that like Vince really didn't have a single plan for reviving ECW. He just wanted to revive it because it's something that he owned. And it was easy. It's just what he wanted to do. And it's sad because a lot of good workers the fact that you had Kurt Angle as an ECW champion, Kurt Angle was exclusive to ECW for a time. What the hell was that about?
And he was like the wrestling machine, Kurt Angle. He was like brutal and ruthless. Like Big Show was down there doing like Big Show shit. They were gonna put
Big Show doing Big Show shit.
Yeah, so botching and crying and turning face and heel every 5 minutes.
Right.
Benoit was down in ECW, and he was gonna carry the torch for ECW for a little bit until he decided, ain't no way in hell I'm doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. A simple no probably would have sufficed as opposed to what actually happened, but I guess different strokes for different folks. But they didn't have a plan, and it was painfully obvious that they did.
Yeah.
I think Vince just thought, hey, there's money in this because One Night Stand was so well received. Let's see how much more of this cow we can milk.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. All right, so let's get to the match of the night, the one that jump started it all. For the rest of 2008. Video package airs for Shawn Michaels facing Chris Jericho. At Backlash, previously to this one, Michaels beat Batista, which was a great match. I recommend anyone to go back. To Backlash 2008. Please go watch that and watch this match. Jericho is a special guest referee. After Michaels sold a left knee injury, Batista showed compassion for Shawn, but then Shawn got up and hit a super kick to get the pinfall win. Jericho gave Shawn an award for Best Actor for his knee injury. Batista had said that if Shawn was faking it, he would absolutely make him pay. Jericho and Michaels then would beat Miz and Morrison in a tag match where Shawn was selling the knee a lot after they had won. Michaels admitted to Jericho he wasn't hurt, and then Shawn hit him with a super kick, followed by Shawn casually, leaving the ring, jumping over the top rope, proving to Jericho that he's not hurt at all. He wasn't
He should have
lying
just
about
done the
that.
backflip off the top rope like he
Oh,
did in '97.
yeah, right. Oh, this is obviously early in the very beginning of this Jericho Michaels story. They would not only have, the best feud of 2008, but absolutely, George, one of the best rivalries ever.
Yeah.
Because people also don't remember the rivalry they had in 2003 before WrestleMania 19.
Mhm.
So, definitely, go back and look at that as well. So, just going back to Judgment Day '08 here and seeing this feud on the precipice of becoming something so huge in '08. And like you said, the fact that this was so good so late, like in Michael's career, this
Yeah.
was probably the last true time we had Michaels as a full-time
This is like
every
this is
week guy.
18 months before he retires.
Yeah, for sure. Jericho enters as the IC champ, although the title was not online for this match, which kind
Should
of
have been.
tells you who was
Should have
going to
been.
win. Right, should have been, but Michaels gets a huge pop for his entrance. Obviously, no knee injury. JR did note that these two men were 2 of the 5 Grand Slam champions in the WWE at this point.
Back when
Um,
back when it was like a big thing to be the
yeah,
Grand Slam champion.
of course.
Now, fucking Dean Ambrose is Grand Slam champion.
So after 16 minutes, we get to me, I gave this a 5-star match. The win goes to Shawn Michaels via pinfall on a pretty sweet roll up, trying to reverse the walls of Jericho. This match was awesome, man. I've watched this match 50 times probably. And, I'm so glad that, I got to watch it again. I have a reason to watch it again, to review it here. I can't name the last time, dude. It was such an even match in terms of like 50-50 offense.
Yeah.
Michael's coming close to winning several times, including, after the only super kick, which was hit on the outside, Jericho hits the code breaker, didn't get the win. There were just so many believable like the counters in this match were just so crisp. They worked. It was just brilliant technical wrestling with so much drama from start to finish. I also, liked the time of the match because it did not seem too long. I actually, when I get to the end of this match, dude, I'm like, wow, I could have used another 5 minutes of this.
Yeah. Like I was
really
like
could have.
surprised that that's how I'm like, oh, it ends on a roll up.
Exactly. It was great. This may not have been, as good as the WrestleMania 19 match, but it was close. It wasn't their 2008 ladder match, which we'll get to eventually, which was in a PG era. What a ladder match these two had. But what did you think of this match? What did you give it? I did have it. I gave it 5 stars.
Stellar. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll agree with you on 5. And it's weird that this is the first match in the series.
I know.
It's weird. It's
starting off hot.
It's almost like you're supposed to start a feud with just like a regular one-on-one match, and then you increase the stakes as it goes along.
Mhm.
That's how you write a story. That's how you build interest. I want to see how Jericho is going to get out of this one. I want to see if Shawn's going to overcome the odds here. Keep interest. Keep us watching. And there was and just like the timing of everything, because it was Batista was mad that Shawn ended Ric Flair's career, so that plays a part. And then Shawn faked the knee injury, and Jericho showed compassion because Shawn hurt himself, but then thought maybe he was cheating, and then Jericho took it as a personal offense because he sees Shawn as one of his heroes.
Yeah,
and then gives him the the best actor award, which I don't know how he didn't win it in 2005. I have to take a look at the nominees. I don't know how he didn't. I don't know how he didn't win it then, but there's so many layers to this story.
Yeah, man.
And it just goes up and up, and later on, like Shawn's wife gets involved, and
Gets punched in the face for real.
And the last time we saw her on TV was when she was part of the Nitro Girls.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's so much to this, and it's like it should be like a template that everyone should study if you're going to learn how to write like a wrestling show.
Especially in today's world of wrestling, that's the perfect feud to go back and pay attention to
across the board. WWE, AW, TNA, NWA, just take notes, guys. This is how
For
it's supposed to
sure. I agree. And what's crazy also that people forget too is like these both were baby faces at the time of this match.
be done. Yeah,
Jericho
Joker
was
didn't even turn heel.
babyface. Not yet.
And
No.
and the heel that Joker turns into is the one that like dominated that era.
Yeah.
You know, with the suits and the talking real slow and the
Yep.
don't you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth, you
Yeah.
idiot. You know, I'm the
Just
best in the world at what
yeah.
I do.
Just to remind people, this angle got so hot so quick, it forced WWE to put the world heavyweight strap on Chris Jericho. Um, like just because they needed the rivalry to have even more meaning, like even more stakes, because it just kept getting bigger. And one of the best ways to elevate a rivalry is put a big title on the
Hmm.
line, and that's what this did. And this just set the stage for it, man. It was just I can't say enough great things. If you guys don't watch anything this week, go back to Judgment Day 2008 and watch Shawn Michaels versus Chris Jericho. This further cements that Shawn Michaels is the greatest in-ring performer of all time. Because again, we're 18 months from retirement, and he's pulling 5-star matches on B shows. Like, so, and then the match that he had before this one with Batista to me was a 4.5-star match. Kudos to Batista for that one too. Just great shit, pal.
Hmm.
All
Such
right,
good shit.
such good shit. Next match is a women's championship match. Mickey James versus Beth Phoenix versus Melina. Mickey James gets the win after about 6 minutes. I'll tell you what, this wasn't the worst. It was not bad. I thought I was going to have to skip through it, but I'm like, you know what? I'll give it the first couple minutes. And then I got to the end of it, and I thought, you know what? I actually thought this match could have used more time because there was a lot of action in this match.
Hmm.
I thought Mickey and Beth worked their ass off. And I thought it was just really, really good. I think the finish could have been a little bit better by teasing a couple near falls before Mickey got the win with her patented DDT. Melina sold it like a champ. Melina sold that DDT great. It was not shocking to me. It made sense because at the time Beth Phoenix was like a beast, like a monster. So I'm not surprised. I think Melina was probably put in that match to take the pinfall. But still, she got put in that match. She got her shit in, and she sold that finish tremendously. So golf clap all around to these three ladies.
Let me ask you a question with this, Chris.
Sure.
Would you have put the strap on Beth Phoenix in this match?
I would have.
Okay.
I mean,
And
would you, or would you have kept it on Mickey?
I would have. I don't know. I don't know what I would have done, but like Beth was getting real hot because she was like she was a heel for that division that like really needed it for an unsung era of the Divas division.
Yeah.
Like because every woman worked their ass off, and they were great workers. Like for the time, and they transcend. Like Beth Phoenix still works good now when she's in matches, and Mickey James is still going. So it's such an unsung time that like I maybe would have put the belt on the belt on Beth and just let her have a monster heel run with it.
Yeah.
But Mickey's super hot, so you have to put the title on her. And Melina, yeah, you're right. Melina's there to take the pinfall. But I will tell you one thing: she knows the answer to the question.
Yeah, I mean, and look, the next month pay-per-view, it was Melina versus Beth Phoenix. So, I guess they were planning on doing some good stuff with Melina as well at this time. I just didn't remember. I mean,
Only Dave Batista knows for sure.
that, and she knows
That's
the
what I said. She
answer.
knows the answer to
Yep,
the
I know.
question.
She
Yeah,
she
that's it.
knows.
She knows firsthand.
Or both. Shawn Michaels was shown in the locker room, changing out of his ring gear. Michaels was unhooking the brace that he had under his left knee. Batista shows up to Michaels saying he told Shawn, he warned him if he was lying about his injury, the next time he saw him, he would hurt him. Batista said he'll make Shawn wait for it, though, and he'll dictate the time and place that Batista will hurt him. And It just so happened that the very next pay-per-view was one night stand, and it was a stretcher match between these two, which was also a pretty good match as well. So again, go check that one out. Video package airs to set up Undertaker versus Edge for the vacant World Heavyweight Championship on SmackDown.
Fucking started.
And at this point, the Undertaker's chokehold, which was Hell's Gate, was banned from being used in this match, and he was stripped of the World Heavyweight title that he won from Edge at WrestleMania 24. Vicky at this point was engaged to Edge at the time. Edge won a championship chase competition on SmackDown to earn a world title shot, although he only entered the match when Batista was the last man in the Battle Royal. Edge gave Batista a spear off the apron, and that set up Edge to be in this match. This was a long rivalry that led to several pay-per-view matches between Taker and Edge in 2008. I think this was definitely the second best feud of the year. Is that safe to say?
That's safe to say.
All right, okay. The World Heavyweight Championship was displayed at ringside in a glass case, as it should, because it's so beautiful. Edge makes his entrance as a 4-time world champion in WWE going into this match.
He only had 4 at this time.
At the time, yeah. In the next 3 years, they snuck in like 37 more.
Yeah. When you're not looking.
Undertaker, great. I love his entrance here. I love it every single time.
Yeah.
Undertaker comes in as the babyface, man. Undertaker's 43 years old, and he looked amazing in 2008. I felt like this was like he probably was in the best shape of his career in 2008 and 9. Would you agree?
I'll agree to that.
Yeah.
Plus, that Hell's Gate used to make people bleed from the mouth.
Yeah, damn right it did.
Which is weird. I didn't know submission holds could do that.
And the finish pissed me off.
Yeah.
16 minutes and 15 seconds, and Taker gets the win by count out. I had this as a 4-star match until the count out, and it dropped it all the way down to a 3 for me. Because, George, you and I talked about this for years. This is such a great rivalry. On pay-per-view, don't give me a count out. Give me a finish.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just how
I felt. He won, and then they were awarding the belt, and then Vicky Guerrero came out, and she's like, the title can't change hands on disqualification or count out. And I was actually I looked at the TV and was like, it's not changing hands. They're fighting for it. The rules don't apply the same.
Exactly.
Stupid. I hate it. I hate when they just vacate titles just to vacate them. I was mad because when I was watching the video package and because your Hell's Gate is so devastating, we're gonna strip you of the title. And I I rolled my eyes. I'm like, oh fuck, I remember this shit.
Yeah, this was a bad reminder of the Vicky Guerrero era. Undertaker was handed the world title.
Wrote this.
I'm sure he was emailing ideas. The Undertaker was handed the world title, but Vicky Guerrero shows up with Hawkins and Ryder for an announcement with Vicky in a wheelchair to sell, of course, one of her fake injuries. The fans were booing viciously at her. Look, I will say this. Vicky was incredible.
From 3 years prior.
Oh, my God. I think Vicky was incredible at getting heat. She was really good at what she did. I give her credit for that.
I'm glad she taught it to her son.
Exactly. Vicky noted that it is common knowledge that a title can only be won by pinfall or submission, but not disqualification or countout. Vicky said that means the World Heavyweight title remains vacant. She told Undertaker that he is not the new champ. So Undertaker, of course, frustrated, tosses the title down. Taker then grabbed Edge from ringside and gave him a tombstone in the middle of the ring. So yeah, this was just not my favorite ending. It's typical WWE fashion because of the way this whole thing ended, the whole segment. They wanted to be controversial and keep people interested in the title chase for the vacated World Heavyweight Championship. So, the next match they had was at One Night Stand 2008, would obviously be a bigger deal because that's when they had a TLC match for the World Heavyweight title with Edge facing The Undertaker. And that match main evented the show. One Night Stand 2008 is an underrated show, so I want people to go check that out when they can. Randy Orton does a backstage promo. Orton said he was a WWE champion for 6 months of defeating top stars like John Cena, Jeff Hardy, Chris Jericho, Shawn Michaels, and the man he won the title from in the first place, Triple H. He goes on to say that Triple H claimed Orton was lucky, but Orton said that Hunter was lucky for winning the title on his third try in a fatal four-way match. Orton said that now Triple H has to face him in a steel cage. Orton said he'll get that WWE title back and reclaiming the age of Orton. So that'll be later on. Next match here, Jeff Hardy versus MVP Montel Vontavious Porter. Jeff Hardy gets the win here in just under 10 minutes. I didn't like the match. I also thought it went on too long. Look, no one will ever say MVP was that great. I thought Jeff in 2008 was a really, he was super over as a babyface at this time. But I just felt like these two just did not mesh well and had no chemistry in the match. What did you think of this?
I didn't even care.
Yeah, I didn't either. I'm with you.
I don't even know. I don't even know why it was a thing.
Yeah.
MVP got barely a reaction when he came out.
Yeah.
He gets more of a reaction now than he got.
He does.
This fucking match.
Yeah. So we get to the main event here, man. Triple H comes in as the babyface champion. He won that title from Orton 3 weeks prior. Also, at this time, Orton was only 28 years old, and Triple H was 38. So they wrestled so many times on pay-per-view and TV, and obviously we all know the history between Orton and Triple H. It's just incredible. This was a rivalry that I never got tired of. At the end, though, after 21 minutes and 10 seconds, Triple H hit the devastating pedigree for the pinfall. The crowd went bonkers for this. I gave this match 4 stars, dude. I thought it was really good. These two had just incredible chemistry. They beat the hell out of each other. Triple H is just such a ring general and just knows how to get dudes over. And he made Orton look so good. Orton also did the same for Hunter. What was your thoughts on this match? I love getting that clear pinfall in the middle of the ring.
So good. So I mean, these guys just know each other so well.
Mm-hmm.
They could have a fucking great match if it was, I don't know, if they were both knee deep in shit with each other. It's I'll always pop for Triple H Randy Orton.
Yeah,
like but that was also everybody on this show. Triple H, Randy Orton, great chemistry together. Undertaker and Edge, great chemistry together.
Mm-hmm.
Jericho and Shawn, great chemistry. I mean, like even JBL and John Cena, even they worked really well together.
I know.
Like this is what the Ruthless Aggression era was about. Great matches with great stories, not just great matches. You can have great matches anytime you want.
Mm-hmm.
But
I agree.
You need to have a reason to be invested in who wins the match, as opposed to wrestler A is my favorite, so I want him to win.
Right.
You need a reason for it. You know?
Yeah, and with this rivalry, the story is already told. The story's written. The history is there. So you don't need much to go into these matches here in 2008 if it's Orton versus Triple H, because we know this long history is 5 years deep. So and it's all played out on television. My only criticism of the match is it's a cage match, right? It would have been nice if they tried escaping the cage, going out the door, climbing the top. Because I feel like if you're going to have a cage match, then there should be, at least a couple teases that's going to end the way a cage match can end. Obviously, Hunter winning clean was the result. He did win the title 3 weeks or 4 weeks prior, so I didn't expect the title change here.
Yeah.
But my only criticism is if you have a cage match, use the cage, right?
Yeah, use the cage.
Yeah.
Whether it's a weapon or, your means to escape. In cage matches, a cage is essentially another competitor.
Right. Triple H celebrates with the WWE title standing on top of the cage, and this was the end of the show. And, usually a cage match is a blow off of a rivalry. Nope. Again, please go watch One Night Stand 2008. Because
Like our review here just seemed like a promo for One Night
for
Stand
for One
2008.
Night Stand 2008, because these two would go on to have a last man standing match for the WWE title in that pay per view. So, man, now I think we have to cover.
No, now we're not going to do it because we're telling everyone to watch it. So now we're not going to cover it.
That's a good point. All right, so out of 10, George, what are you giving Judgment Day 2008?
I'm giving it an 8, Chris.
Wow. Okay, I gave it a 7.5. I thought there were.
Because
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
the good matches were fucking great.
That's so, to me, there were several really good matches, one being great, that it kept this show from being bad or even like mediocre. I thought the Michaels Jericho match obviously was the best. I thought Undertaker Edge was really good. It was just hampered by a bad finish. Triple H and Orton was obviously really good. And then let's not forget that John Cena and JBL wasn't bad. It was pretty. I didn't not watch it. I thought it was solid all the way through, except for just a couple bad ones in the middle, which usually happens. I mean, not nowadays. Now every PLE WWE puts on is really, really good. I just thought it was a great show. I thought the crowd also was very good, which is odd for Nebraska, but the crowd was hot all night. I think
corn.
Yeah, so I just that's okay. Maybe they just tonight just felt like freaks on a leash. So I think overall it was a very good show. With a great card, man. Talent up and down the roster. So I agree with you. I'm gonna give it a 7.5. I really enjoyed it, man. It's a good show. It's another show again that I will watch again because I enjoy the Triple H Orton feud, the Edge and Taker feud, and obviously I'll watch anything with Shawn Michaels. But when it's Shawn Michaels and Chris Jericho of 08, I'm glued to the television. All right, so what do we got next week? Oh, next week is June, and I believe the very first episode of June will be our top 10 favorite wrestlers of all time.
This is like version 3 of this episode.
Yeah.
How many times we've done this?
I will say, though, I've had a lot of time to go through my list, and I actually surprised myself with where I put certain dudes. And there was a lot of changes, and I went back and looked at some of my other lists that I put together, and it's like vastly different.
This time you added Tino Santana, Coco Beware.
That's right.
And the Berserker.
That's absolutely correct. And Alundra Blaze. Not Medusa.
Honestly, I can't even argue that that's actually in your top 10. It's Medusa. I'm gonna sit here and fucking dispute you on that.
Only because she'll kick our ass.
Yeah. Then tie you to the back of her tow truck and drive you up and down 295 when it's littered with potholes.
You're right. All right, everybody. If you are watching on our YouTube channel, thank you very much. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and ring that bell for notifications on when we go live again. Again, we will be here streaming next week. I think Dean will be joining us as well. We will be talking our top 10 favorite wrestlers of all time. George, you're also the co-host and the more interesting part of the two-part duo of the Multiverse Movie Podcast. What do you guys have coming up this week?
Well, Chris, first things first. Thank you for saying I was the more interesting version. Although now you're going to have to deal with the repercussions.
I know.
The other half. So I hope you're prepared. Hope you're just prepared for that one, because you'll probably get a flaming bag on your doorstep.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
But we
have to actually get in his car and drive to do that.
Wow. The hits just keep on coming. I pity you, sir.
Okay.
We have coming up this week, since we're in 2024, we have a lot of 30th anniversary movies coming up, because 94 was a banger fucking year for movies. If you disagree with me, you're wrong. Sorry. Just go back. I mean, like, the numbers don't lie for movies that came out in 1994 at all. But we're doing Speed this week.
Oh, what a classic.
Which will be its 30th anniversary release.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Like, I'm in the middle of rewatching it now, and I'm sitting there like, This is a lot better than I remembered.
Oh, Speed was amazing. So yeah, looking forward to that, guys. If you guys listen, love movies, even love video game talk, head over to anywhere you listen to podcasts and find the Multiverse Movie Podcast. I show up there once in a while, which is always fun. But
We
again,
even gave Chris a birthday show and he's like, "Yay! It's the last thing. It was the only time I get anything for my birthday."
it is, and especially it's anything nice from these two. So again, this is the Hot Tag Wrestling Show. Thank you guys so much. This has been AEW Rant Night and Judgment Day 2008. So I hope you guys enjoy it because that's probably the last time I'm going to go on a more than 1 minute rant on AEW. But thank you
I'll need
very
to get
much.
this in writing because I feel like it's going to happen again.
I know. Then this is live and it's archived, so people are going to hold me to it, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
You're gonna blast all over Twitter.
I am at the Hot Take Podcast on Instagram. So for George Rogers, I'm Chrissy Francesco, and we'll catch you guys down the road. Have a great rest of your week and weekend. We'll see you here next week. Bye bye.